Got the intake tube all cleaned up. Gonna go ahead and install it now. Go and install the splash guard and kind of clean it up a little bit. It's not all that clean, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be in the bottom anyways. Alright, I already threw the axle on. One of the problems I had with the mid shaft is I forgot the motor. I took it off of because I had a motor in my backyard that I had on one of my other cars, and the mid shaft is off of a 97 Accord. So the axle I had for the Prelude didn't work. I had to go ahead and get a axle for the 97 Accord. So I am using the 97 Accord axle. Later on, I'm going to go ahead and change the mid shaft and change the axle just so everything is all Prelude. I don't have any confusions later on. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten everything up, and also I'm going to add the bolt for the brake that obviously it didn't have one. So I mean, you don't want to be riding around without a bolt, especially on your brakes. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that on. I did forget to mention that I installed the stiffener bracket, or the dust cover bracket, whatever you want to call it. I actually looked online, and the one from the automatic transmission is the same as the manual transmission. If you get a transmission from the older Preludes or the Accord, it's going to have like a metal, thin like metal shield, but this one actually has the whole bracket. It just gives it extra support. I am missing the little bolt that goes here. I'm pretty sure I'll find them later and just add them on. But just one bolt on this transmission doesn't line up, you know, there's nothing here. Probably for the actual Prelude transmission, it probably has that one right there. But yeah, I bolted everything up as I could, except the three little bolts, like I said, but that's no problem. If anything, I'll just go to a hardware store and pick some up. There it is. So everything is done down here. Now, as for those wires that were hanging off, you could zip tie them or just cut them, just so you know, they don't get in the way, they don't burn, start melting, start a fire or something. So all the wires that you don't use, just go ahead and cut them off or zip tie them. Here's the ones that I had cut off. Go ahead and trash them. to me, just cut them off just to give it a cleaner look and you don't have like random plugs just hanging around. Alright, so now the car runs and everything. I put the shift knob on it, the original one, so everything looks like factory, except we still have the cluster and we gotta modify the ECU. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it. Hold the clutch down. Alright, now obviously I don't have my seatbelt on. The brake is up. Doors are open. But I have a check engine light, and that's what we're gonna fix, is the check engine light. Because the computer thinks it's still an automatic transmission, so it's looking for it through the sensors. And so I gotta change that to get the engine light off, and then I got a blinking D4. But I mean, everything should run properly. You're gonna come to passenger side, and the computer is at the base of the passenger footwell, so you're gonna have to get to that. Alright, now that you have the computer out, now you're going to see a computer on the front side that shows AT, automatic control. You could just go ahead and unbolt that one, and then you could just take it out. And you can just go ahead and toss this out. You could go ahead and sell it or do whatever you please. Now I'm going to need to go ahead and take out the ECU, and so you could start working on that. Just go ahead and take off the 10mm bolts, holding it down. Alright, so I went ahead and took off the covers on the computer. And on the back side, well actually technically it'll be the front side of when you took it off. So you're going to look for RP13. There's RP13. And then on the other side, you're going to look for RP14, which is right here. You can see the solder points. You can see where it has been soldered. And so you need to undo those solders. Take it out. Be careful not to break the resistor. And just flip it onto the RP14 side and just solder it on the RP13 side. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Went ahead, put the covers on, and bolted it back up to the base. Just going to go ahead and install it back in. Go ahead and start it now. There it is. No blinking D4 and no check engine light. Alright, going to go ahead and take out the cluster. So you got the cluster here. Gonna go ahead and take off the plastic, the covering. You just get these tabs here. Actually, it might be easier from the top. So just get these tabs, kind of push them out. And then go ahead, do the same thing for the black part. And then just go ahead and take out, there's going to be 6 screws holding on this side. So it's going to be, hold on if you can see it, 3 and 3 more screws. Just take out the tachometer side. Then I already got the tachometer for the off the manual transmission. Off the manual cluster. I already took it out. And so just go ahead and do a direct swap so you keep your mileage on there. And just go ahead and take out these screws right here. And then just go ahead and put in the manual one. Went ahead and grabbed the cap for just to cover up the plug back here, which there's nothing in there anymore. And just go ahead and put it back together and you got yourself a manual cluster. Alright, went ahead and installed it. Everything seems to be working perfectly. All gauges are working. RPM gauge works, and that's it for the auto to manual swap. That is finally everything. Everything looks real stock as it's supposed to be. So one thing to note when working on an ECU, that resistor that you have to move from front to back is real small. So try to work in an area that if you drop it, you can find it real easy. To be honest, I dropped mine and it probably took me about 45 minutes just to find it. Take your time when working with the resistor. For me, it probably took about an hour and a half to 2 hours to actually do the resistor on the ECU. Take your time when working with the resistor because it is small, and just working with it is kind of difficult just because it's so small and you have to solder it to these little small points, and trying to put a tiny bit of solder onto it, it's just kind of difficult to do. But I'm not saying it's impossible to do. Just go ahead and try it. The other way that you could turn off your engine light is if you actually get a manual ECU, but for that you would need the red key that comes with the car when purchasing the vehicle from a dealership, and most people don't have that key. So you would have to go to the dealership, and the dealership, I don't know how much they'll charge you, but it's going to be a more expensive route to do than just switching your automatic ECU into a manual. Now that I have showed you guys everything that it takes to swap from automatic to manual in the Prelude, I just want to be clear on everything. Please, if you're doing this, make sure to look up all the torque specs for everything that you're doing, so there's no problems, you don't have bolts backing out in the clutch, your transmission is properly mounted onto the engine, your mount holding the transmission is properly torqued down, so there's no problems in between. Because the last thing that you want is to be driving down the highway or whatever and bolts coming loose and your transmission messing up and you have to tow it and you have to take everything back apart just so you torque it down. So do it right the first time. Take the time, look up all the specs, look up all the parts that go into this swap, and you won't have no problems after you put everything together. Now, I know I got a comment on one of the other videos about how much does all of this cost. To be honest, if you get everything from a junkyard slash eBay slash wherever you're getting your parts from, I would say the least amount that you would probably be looking to pay would be about $700. Now, if you're going to start adding aftermarket parts, getting stuff built and all that, of course the price is going to go up. The price could go up to however much, to be honest. There's no like set point of how high it's going to go. It's how much work do you want to put into it. Now, I didn't spend $700. Obviously, if you saw the parts that went into this swap, I spent well over $700. I'm not going to say exactly how much I spent, but just know that you're going to spend anywhere from $700 on up to however much you want to spend. So that's it for the whole automatic to manual swap. I hope this helped you guys out. Some of the process is kind of similar to other swaps with different models and stuff, but I hope this video helps you out a lot. And if anything, if you're getting a shop to do it, and you walk in, make sure the shop knows what they're doing, so you kind of have an idea of what goes into this and how it should be done. If you've never done this before, don't be scared to try it. And I mean, you saw me mess up on little things, but I mean, everything could be fixed one way or another. Alright guys, I appreciate you guys watching these videos, and of course I'm going to have more videos to come, and I'll see you guys on the next one.